workout.
Yo, what's happening? It's your brother in the footwork, your footwork newsboy, DJ Cornerstone. And today you're watching the Prince JRon series on Give Us The Works. Y'all, listen to what the brother says, because it is good.
You had Panic, you had Chaos Posse, you had Triple Phase. So it was like, dang, we need a name to like match that, like Destruction or something. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't come out with no little fluffy name like Chaos coming to the stage, Panic, and then we got some other lame group. Like, nah, we gotta have a name that brings some tremble, some fear. But we wasn't sure. So wrestling back then, it was WCW.
Right.
WCW, they had an event called Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
So
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is a sign from, like I always look in signs, you know what I'm saying? Anything that happens to me is signs. So I'm like, yo, this confirmation right here.
Yeah.
This confirmation right here is that we need to stick with that sign, that name Havoc. That name Havoc that he had, we need to stick with that. So when we saw that, we was like, yo, the H.A.V.O.C, we own that. H.A.V.O.C. But we also was going to this community center called the Jones Center. And the thing about my journey was everything before I was dancing, I was playing basketball. I was drawing basketball. But I always went to this community center called the Jones Center in my neighborhood. Yeah, you had like the gangsters, you had the drug dealers and stuff like that, the winos on the corner. And our community center was something where the youth can go to learn how to, learn different things in the educational field, whether learn how to type, play basketball, just a safe place to get different ideas put in our head than what we saw in our neighborhood. So whatever one person did, we all did. One person played basketball, we all played basketball. It was like a little group of us. So when I started seeing Chicago footwork, I was like, I want to learn. So I started bringing it to the Jones Center. Like anything I learned, I show it to my friends at the Jones Center. Yeah. And so that's how H.A.V.O.C got started, where I was like, yo, the name gonna be H.A.V.O.C. We all agreed. And we was like, we just gonna start, like none of us got dance experience. But we was like, we're gonna make a way. We're gonna just try to keep learning in the back and just try to learn and catch up. And I had a camcorder at the time that was like rare, because back then cameras I had the camera due to the Jones Center. The Jones Center was their teach. If it was something that you was interested in, they'll pay for it just so you could. So it was like I like pictures and photography, but I didn't have no camera. So they're like, oh, we're gonna buy you a camcorder. Like, it do video and pictures. So I'm like, what? They're like, yo, little young bud walking around with a camcorder. Like, man, now remind you, this was like the expensive camcorder because it was small. Because back then the camcorder used to be like big old VCR tapes. So the one I had was the first handheld. So people like, what the hell is that little small thing? Like, oh, it's a video recorder. That small? Like, yeah. So I used to be able to take it into parties and stuff. Yeah. So I'm getting practice to recording, but I'm also capturing historical moments in the Chicago footwork culture that I had no clue I was capturing. I didn't know all the greatness I was surrounded by at that time. And so when we started H.A.V.O.C, we just was going to these events, going to these parties, and we're like young as ever. We're coming from a community where you wouldn't even leave from a 5-block radius. So we're traveling to different towns. We're traveling to Chicago. So we're coming back, and the people on the block is like,
and where you from? Because I forgot to ask you that at the beginning.
I'm from the south. I'm from the south suburbs, Chicago Heights. I'm from Chicago Heights. So in the south suburbs, they don't usually go to the city. Usually the city don't come to the burbs. It's kind of like it's so many different divisions in Chicago. So when we go to the parties, we'll be traveling outside of Chicago Heights to go to these parties that's far away. So that was almost equivalent to us going out of town. Like, we felt like we going out of town, because when we come back to the block, we're telling people about these parties, and some of the OGs and older guys, they're listening to us like, dang, you went where? So it's like the OGs was looking up to us like, man, we proud of y'all. Like y'all traveling, y'all doing this, y'all.
Yeah.
So for us being young, but the older people we looked up to were starting to look up to us. It was like, this is kind of cool. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of cool. So we start getting support from our communities. And then like I'm from the east side, and like most places, east side don't go to the west side. West side don't go to the east side. So our local, some of my members, they were going to I wouldn't go to the same high school, but some of my members was going to the high school around here, and so they was meeting, you know, due to the high school. The high school has both east side and west side going to the same school. So they was meeting students that lived on the west side, and they happened to dance. So we started telling them, come to the Jones Center. And so when they started coming to the Jones Center, they were like the man on the west side. So it was like we started bridging the gap in our actual community.
Nice.
Like, because the west side kids started coming to the east side, because the Jones Center is on the east side. So the west side kids was traveling after school to come to the Jones Center to dance with us. And so now it went from just an east side dance group. Now it's an east side, west side. So it turned into, this group is like Chicago Heights. Like it represents the whole Chicago Heights. So it was like a unity. Like you can go to west side, east side now, like you're gonna be okay. So that kind of like inspired us to say, you know what? Now remind you, it was no Facebook or nothing back then. It was word of mouth. So we was like, you know what? It'd be kind of dope if we had a member in each suburb. So you got different suburbs in Chicago. We from Chicago Heights. You got Dalton. You got Harvey. You got South Holland. You know, you got all these. So we started expanding. Like, okay, we're gonna make sure we get members in each suburb, so that way we could start expanding HAVOC throughout Chicago. And that's what we did. It started spreading like wildfire all the way to the west suburbs. We started going all the way to the west suburbs. And it was just amazing where we started getting so much talented youth. And it was an incredible thing where even though we was learning dance, we was learning real life skills due to the Jones Center. Because like I said, the Jones Center was always teaching us about the future, about making goals, about leadership. So you got these young black men and women that's learning dance, but yet they getting taught by like businessmen and businesswomen every day. So we already walking in with a game plan. Like we may not have the dance experience, but we know how businesses move. Business moves in numbers and unity. So what we did was, this is a funny story. What we did was, now remind you, you got these dance groups that's been around for years. We ain't been around. People don't even know who he is yet. So what we did was, we only had 5 dancers at the time, like 5 core dancers. Okay. The other people was kind of like, so they wasn't dancers. And we had like 5 main dancers. And like 3, and then we had 3 other dancers that wasn't like really good, but they was okay. So probably like a total of 8 dancers. 3 okay, 5 is like, okay, they strong 5. Now remind you, we going against groups that's like 30 deep. so this is what we did. Our debut. So remind you, nobody in the dance world knew of us. Chicago Heights knew of us, but we're local. We're not in the parties, you know, against no Creation and Terror Squad. Like they ain't even heard of HAVOC yet. So what we did was what we learned in the Jones Center, moving numbers. So we went to the Jones Center and we said, hey, now remind you, this is a community center, so it's about like 30 youth at least every day. So we like, hey, we all about to take a field trip to the Markham skating rink. We want everybody that wear white t-shirts and and then Walmart had like these little like paint. So we're gonna paint HAVOC on y'all shirt. And that's, because that's the group. So like, okay. So we don't want y'all to tell nobody that y'all don't dance though. Just act. But we all gonna walk in 30 deep with HAVOC shirts, but the 5 to 8 dancers just blend in with the 30. So it's gonna look like an army of us, but we know that it's only really 8 of us that know how to actually dance. But we gonna scare them with our numbers. And it worked. It worked. We walked in there, and my cousin, and the good thing is my cousin is DJ Solo. So he DJ'd the Markham skating rink. Yeah. So he was like, hey, when y'all walk in, I'm gonna make y'all a track.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be like HAVOC. They raw. He had a little in the background. So remind you, he about to play this track. Yeah. And people that footwork is gonna be like, who the hell is this? Like, we never heard of no HAVOC. Why is there so many people? Where did it come from? Like, so it was amazing. We walked in that night. I never forget the feeling. We all were. And back then, you get ready for a party like 2 days before the day.
Yeah.
You got the creases.
You
walked in 30 deep, and you could see people's faces like, dang. This when I knew John Cena taught us well. Because when we walked in, we didn't even dance yet. People was like, hey, how can we get with y'all?
Oh man, come on.
We didn't even we didn't even dance yet.
Yeah.
But people saw the numbers and the unity, and we all was dressed together. They was like, yo, and then heard the track. They was like, wait, like how can I get down with y'all? And one of the people that said that was he ended up being one of my teachers. He was my. Now this funny though. I gotta say, shout out to Lamar Cowherd. He's the first King of the Circle. Oh. He won the first King of the Circle. Yeah. And when I say Chicago Footwork was like a video game, this man was my next door neighbor. I never knew he knew how to dance. Like back then, dancing was like a secret society or something. Like you would know somebody and didn't even know they was in the culture. Like he was my next door neighbor, and I never saw him dance. I never even knew he was. So I know him as Lamar. Yeah. In the dance world, they know him by Cowherd. Okay. So when I saw footwork for the first time in my school, when I told you I saw a battle, and this dude named JB the Great was like, "Oh, I show you the King of the Circle." He took me to my first party. He was like, "Man, so you should see the first winner of the King of the Circle. His name Cowherd. He incredible." I'm like, damn, what he look like? And we in line, I see girls going crazy, and I'm like, that look like my neighbor right there. That's Lamar. He's like, you know Cowherd? I'm like, that's my neighbor. He footwork? Yeah. And he like, what you doing? What you doing up here? I'm like, he's like, I came to see footwork, and they say you the first King of the Circle. He like, yeah, I didn't even know you was into this. I was like, this my first day.
Oh,
so
man.
When we actually went to that Markham skating rink, that was after. So I saw the King of the Circle, then afterwards I ended up making HAVOC, and then we went back to a party. So when we went to the party, that's when Cowherd, now remind you, he was the King of the Circle winner, but he saw our numbers and was like, I want to get down. So it was an honor, like, whoa, the King of the Circle? Like, want to get down with HAVOC? So basically, we just started rounding up people. Like, if you, like, all the cold people, we start like, hey, we just making a super crew right now. You know? The only problem was I never was in a dance group. So I had no idea how a dance group supposed to go. Like, I never made it. I never was in a dance group. I just started off with my own group from scratch. Like, I started off. Like, I'm maybe one of the few that started off not being in a group before. Like, I never was in a group, and then I branched off to start my own group. Like, I started off with my own crew with no experience. how a practice supposed to go, what you supposed to do in practice. Like I was just making it as I went.
Wow. Man, that's doggone amazing. That's man.
It was crazy. But we caught up. Like we caught up to all the code groups. We caught up to Creation. We caught up to Terror Squad, and we like our fame, or whatever you want to call it, it got put on the same pedestal as the great groups. So it was like, man. But it was all about unity. It was all about working together. It was all about being true to ourselves. You know, like through the whole time, we wasn't trying to dance like nobody else. We wasn't trying to belittle nobody else. We wasn't trying to bash nobody else. Like through it all, we always was kind of like that middle glue that brought people together. We supported everybody's event. And I think that's another reason why, if anybody come to the HAVOC picnic, I think that's another reason why you see the whole world come out. You know, at the HAVOC picnic, you see everybody. I'm talking about all generations. People that it's some people I only see once a year, and that's at the HAVOC picnic. I don't see them at no events throughout the whole year. I don't even see them outside. Like they only come out at the HAVOC picnic because they know that's gonna be like nostalgia for them. Like they're gonna see everybody from their generation and the new. And it's because we supported and showed love throughout all our years. Like we never had nothing against nobody. So it was always that. So we always got love back.
Man, you know what? I tell you, I finally had, I don't know if you remember, but my first time going to the HAVOC picnic was this past summer, man, with Gold Rat. And that was a for real treat. Like it was mind blowing. My head going like, wait a minute, he looks familiar. Oh, that's such and such. And like, and then Gold Rat like, yeah, that's old boy. Yeah. And you was like, yeah, that's them.
And it was still so many people that it was so much amazing talent. That's one thing I love about the HAVOC picnic, because it brings the world together, literally. I honestly, out my whole footwork career, never saw nothing like the HAVOC picnic. And I'm not saying that because it's HAVOC. I'm just really saying, like, I personally have never witnessed no Chicago event that brought the whole culture out. Because all my career, I used to see certain people only mess with certain events. So it was like, oh, if that group throw it, then these two groups won't be there. Or if this group throw it, then these three groups definitely gonna be there, but you may not see this group. But to have a neutral thing where, and sometimes it'll be, if this event, then the OGs won't go because they'll feel like, oh, it's just little kids there, you know? But then if the OG story event, the kids can't go because it's an age limit. So not only boundaries between groups, but it was also boundaries between generations and ages. So when I say to see a event being thrown where there's no boundaries of ages, there's no boundaries of groups, everybody can come, family, whoever, for a good time and interact and learn from each other. Because you're gonna see things that you don't see in your generation. You know, you're gonna see my teachers. Like, you know, I barely even dance at my own picnic because it's like, I'm so amazed, like, oh my God, these is people I ain't seen dance in years. Like, I don't want to miss this, you know? And like, almost like anybody that you've seen on Behind the Name is there. Like, and these is like pioneers of the culture. King Charles and Creation Global, people that you may see on YouTube or Instagram, like Kales or Mickey in Japan. Like, Japan had a whole, you know, field trip and came. Like,
that's another beautiful thing about the picnic. So in the past, man, like I've been in marketing parties, Cavallini's, and some of the Dalton Expo parties and stuff, a few union halls, and very rarely did I see somebody there that wasn't black. There was maybe once, maybe twice did I see somebody that was probably white or Hispanic. Very rare. But not only did you have people from different countries, and you had, you know, the white American, whatever. Mm-hmm. But what was so raw, what was a beautiful moment to me, was when Murder Mommy,
the lady,
Crystal, yes, Kelly, Fastly Molly, shook it up a little bit, gave each other respect, and did their thing. That was a moment.
That was the most epic. That right there was the most epic moment. One of the most epic. It was so many epic moments, but that moment right there was super epic. One, it's been a while since the ladies had like got down like that. Mm-hmm. And me personally, the last time I saw the ladies get down was at the Shadon documentary, which was, you know, ladies versus the men. Okay. But to see the ladies like go at it, like get a chance, like ladies not all just coming at the man, but ladies get a chance to cipher amongst themselves. I ain't seen that in years. So that right there was like, I don't want to see, and I don't know, you remember I was like, I don't want to see no guys dance. This because some of the new generation, they don't know. So they feel, one, they don't understand the structure of the circle. And some of them don't understand that you don't just go anytime. At certain times, you actually need to sit back and watch. Yeah. You know, it's like one of those things where it's levels. You got lightweight, middleweight, and you got heavyweight. If you see the heavyweights go and you a lightweight, you need to sit back and watch, take notes. Right? So you seeing Mike Tyson and Ali go at it, and you just now starting boxing, you need to not hop in that ring. You know? And if you don't, and then you really don't need to hop in that ring if you don't even know their names. That's a red flag that you're not in your same caliber no more. Because when you in your caliber, you know who you dance against all the time. You know your competition at the event. When you start seeing all these people that you ain't never seen before, and it's like, who is them? I ain't never seen that type of style before. You need to sit back and watch that style, because to you, it's all new. But that right there, they're teaching, they're saying hello when they're dancing. Don't cut them off when they're introducing themselves. That's the same way when me and Charles used to travel around the world. When we met new dancers, we didn't talk like, hey, how is it? Our hello was, we start dancing at you. This is hello. Look at what the way we dance, to let you know we from Chicago. You can tell by the speed. We're not your normal New York house dancers. We're not no jitters. We're not crumper. No. So our hello is through our dance. So that's how we want you to respond. But you got to know when it's your time to respond. So them ladies, that was they saying hello. Crystal never saw Kales before. She never saw none of the girls outside of Chicago before. You know, so to be, and vice versa. They want to see her too. But instead of talking, we're going to talk with our feet and acknowledge each other, you know, as far as, okay, I see you in the culture. Let me see what you've been working on. Let me see how much you have learned so far. And then I'm going to teach you some stuff, like through my rounds. So them ladies was having a conversation, because even Princess, we just had on behind the name, OG from, you know, like she was showing, even Crystal, she was showing them the old school, like this before y'all time, like, and Charles, you know, like, man, it was epic. And not just Chicago Footworkers was there. We had other dance styles. That shout out to my girl Comfort, you know what I'm saying? Comfort, she the one, So You Think You Could Dance, I don't know how many times she like, yeah, Comfort was there. She won So You Think You Could Dance numerous times, to the point where now she like choreographed for the show. Actually, she just did the show with Little Bit. That's who got her on the show with the Big Leap. Yeah. So the show Big Leap, Comfort is on there too, on the show with her. But yeah, Comfort was right there at the HAVOC picnic watching, like, hey, you know, like we had like different people coming from around the world, you know, different DJs, producers, you know. So even though they wasn't footworking, a lot of people in the crowd, everybody in the crowd was somebody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody there is somebody. Like even the little kids, you may be seeing, you know what I'm saying, like, man, that's the little one that be footworking on YouTube, like. So GS, you know what I'm saying? All of them was there. It was just cool, man. Super cool.
Yeah, man, most definitely, man. I'm glad we got to talk on that, man, because I'm looking forward to the next one. Like
oh yeah, so the next one is this year, August 14th. It is August 14th. Also, for those that don't know, August is Footwork Appreciation Month. So the acronyms is FAM, because it's all about family, FAM. So Footwork Appreciation Month. And throughout that whole month, it's a lot of different events. So I always try to get the date out early, because some people got to buy tickets, fly in, and things like that. This year, for the weekend of that, Sunday is the HAVOC picnic. That's August 14th. The day before the HAVOC picnic is the Bud Billiken Parade.
Right, okay.
It's one of the biggest parades. It is the biggest parade in Chicago.
It's like the second biggest in the country.
Yeah, it is huge. The Bud Billiken Parade is a huge parade, and that's definitely, you know, a lot of dance groups work hard for it. You'll see a lot of performance of them banging when you hear the track banging down King Drive, banging down. they're dancing all the way down the street called King Drive for blocks and blocks, dancing their hearts and soul out. That
track is a good map for people.
Yeah, once again, like I said, it's the news. I said the music is the news. All you gotta hear is what is the song saying? It's referring to something that happened. And also that Saturday. So Saturday is the Bud Billiken. So that's August 13th. And then that night is the Cage. So for those that don't know, the Cage is the event that Chicago Footwork, a lot of times, like I said earlier, was done in the streets or in basements. So the Cage is an event where it's like gutter back to its roots, back into the basement, where it's like intensive battles. And it's super dope because everybody that come in is like it's a random number. So you never know who's dancing against who. So you may have some amazing legends come down.
That's kind of like a cage fight right there.
It's like a cage fight. That's it. So the Cage, that's why it's the Cage. And this past Cage was incredible. Like Terror Squad Footwork Company came with DJ Corey. We had the legendary Wolfpack members down there, Q and Pooh, and they was going down doing their thing. You had AC Styles and all of us from HAVOC and Posse. Like it was just dope. It was super dope. But yeah, the Cage. So the Cage is like I said, this as of right now. So as of right now, you got Bud Billiken, August 13th. You got the Cage that following night, August 13th. You got the HAVOC picnic, August 14th. Then the following next weekend, you got DJ Clint Beat Down Nick, like the Beat Down picnic, the Lick Nick.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my. And then I think Creation may be doing theirs also too in that week or so. I gotta ask Charles, but I gotta get the date. But I know it's gonna be like almost like jam packed, like everything gonna be like back to back, because we got Goon Squad. Like it's gonna be crazy. Like,
weird, man. I'm trying to be at all of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
Crazy. It's gonna be crazy. I'm super geek.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. For those of you who can't see who listening on the podcast, so behind Prince JRon is the name of his group, and I gotta say this because I'm a fan of acronyms, because we touched on how you came about the name, but we didn't get to the full name just yet, man. Because I'm telling you, when I say I love acronyms, man, I almost named my youngest. It was gonna be something like Raheem Antonio Williams, just so his nickname could be Raw. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
but,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
that was cool. Caleb was almost Raw, but that's
cool.
a whole nother story.
That's cool.
So when I heard the name, and I'm gonna let you tell it. When I heard the name of the group, the acronym, I was like, man, they saying something. There's more to it than the name being cold. It's something. There's a message in here.
Yep.
Man, you mind talking on that? How that came about?
So in the beginning of H.A.V.O.C, when I originally was saying that it was like only a few dancers, and we started having basically other people, or other entourage with us just to have numbers. During those beginning stages, it started growing almost super big, but with those numbers also came drama. And so it was a lot of people that didn't have the same vision of what we were doing. We were just trying to stay out of trouble and dance and have a good time. And then there was other people that couldn't control their tempers, that wasn't dancing, and they would start fights, and so a few places, one thing led to another, where a few places started getting like out of hand, where it's like they was like, oh, those people started a fight, so y'all can't come. It was like, but it wasn't us, but people didn't understand that it was like, it wasn't even the people that was dancing. It was just people that was like backfield, like that didn't even have nothing to do with anything. So we was like, wait, we gotta cut ties. You know what I'm saying? Like those that's we got to the point where it was like, we don't need those extra numbers no more. We don't need nobody taking up space, basically. Like if you're not here for H.A.V.O.C and you're not here to dance or better yourself, then that's what we're here for. Because remind you, we started spreading. So we was getting people outside of, we had people in the neighborhood and people outside the neighborhood, but all those people didn't have that same nourishment from the Jones Center knowledge. What I'm saying? Self-respect, dignity, and things like that. Yeah. So with those people that didn't have those lessons of self-respect and self-discipline, it was kind of putting a bad taste. So when people heard the name H.A.V.O.C, they really thought chaos. Like, oh no, we ain't about that. And so we about overcoming anything we want to do in life. You know what I'm saying? Anything that we want in life, any competition that we have. And that could be our goals. That could be if you want to learn how to dance. And remind you, some of those people that didn't know how to dance, they was talented. Some of them really wanted to be a part of H.A.V.O.C because it was positive. But they knew how to make music, but didn't have eye and body coordination. Some people actually knew how to cut hair, but didn't know how to dance. Some people knew how to design shirts and clothes, but didn't know how to dance. So we was like, as long as you got a gift and you trying to overcome whatever you're trying to do, then you have it. H.A.V.O.C is even in a dance group, it's a lifestyle. It's inside yourself, it's a mindset. And it was about having all victory over challenges, any challenges. So when on the dance floor, we just say, competition, but in real life, it was about, we was having challenges in our neighborhood, challenges in school, challenges in how the world treated us just because of our skin color, challenges of being raised with, only a single family home, only a mother in the home or whatever. And so it was just a lot of stuff. We all had different things growing up. So one of the things was what we promote is having all victory over challenges. And that was what we was like, that's what we stand for. So when we started doing that, everybody just started advancing in different areas. So a lot of people came to us to learn how to footwork, but through footwork, they started discovering themselves. And by discovering themselves, they start finding out new things that they like. So they may end up finding themselves, man, I like to rap. I may want to go do a rapping career, or I may want to start a clothing line. I may want to give me a barbershop. So a lot of people were starting to venture off in other things. And that's H.A.V.O.C. You know what I'm saying? H.A.V.O.C ain't just about dancing. And so it wasn't about, so a lot of people started branching off and doing their own thing. And that's the goal. The goal is to evolve, to keep growing, not to stay stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Get what you need, grow. I'm never was that type of person that, oh, you gotta be under me and like you got some people that don't want to. As a teacher, my whole dream is to see my students grow and be a teacher and be able to pass the torch to someone else. Like, I don't want you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want nobody to feel like you need me, you know what I'm saying? So that was one thing I didn't like about certain teachers and just overall, even in hip hop and all of that, where certain teachers only teach a certain amount, so the student always needs them. And I feel like you shunning your student when you do that. That's not a teacher. That's not a teacher. So if you're not teaching a person to be able to think and do on their own, then you're not teaching. That's not teaching. Teaching is so. When my teacher taught me how to add and subtract, I can now add and subtract on my own. I don't need to call my teacher up. Hey, what's 5 minus 3 again? Like, no, I know because I was able to be taught, so that way I can do it on my own. I could be able to evolve and be able to maneuver on my own. So all the people, right. Yeah, so anybody that I taught, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look at AC, look at Styles, like they got prophecy, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's a branch from us, but prophecy, that's their thing, you know what I'm saying? And they're doing amazing. They are doing the cage events. They're hosting the events. They have the events. I support, but that's not me doing it. That's them. And that's what it's about. You got Grego, 5 mil. He's doing the millions. He got a whole clothing brand. Millions. Is all around the world. Different artists and things like that. He's getting that career. But that's his thing. He's doing murals. He got inspiration. That's his. He's rep. So it's a lot of big nickel with Black Child clothing. I could go on and on all my members. They all are like. It's one of those things like they all are lighthouses, and that's my job is to create and set fire in people so they could be a lighthouse for others, and that's all HAVOC's about, is having all victory over challenges within yourself and setting the example for others. So if you can do it, you're setting an example for somebody else to let them know they can do it. And so we just started HAVOC as a not-for-profit at the beginning of this year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's official.
That's some work.
Yeah, so we just started as a non-for-profit, and my mentor is Mr. Jones, aka the King, and he has a center called the UP Center along with his wife, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Randy Jones, and they have a program called Chicago Cred. And with Chicago Cred, we work with youth, with at-risk youth. So we go into the streets. We got peer, we got peer coaches where they go in and they get youth that's the shooters or drug dealers and get them off the street and get them into internships to 360 their life around.
Oh,
so
man.
It's like really like, man, it's a blessing, you know what I'm saying, to be able to reach youth that probably made a few bad decisions in the past, but to be able to say, you know what, I want to change my mindset so I can change my life, that's a big deal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's outside. Like, so you got some people, they ain't even interested. They ain't even on. Some people we connecting through dance, and then there's some people that we just connecting through in other areas. Some people may be good with their hands, so we able to get them an internship with construction. Yeah. So like, but those that was able to get connected through dance and music, we was able to go this way. But some people ain't interested in dance and music, So we got to be able to connect to those youth in a certain way. So with the UP Center, they kind of like, they doing a lot of stuff in Project Connect. Like they doing a lot of stuff for the youth, man. And I'm with them throughout the week. And that's kind of like one thing that I wanted to do with HAVOC for work. You know what I'm saying? Like with our community service, I want to do that with that. Whereas we always take care of the community in different ways, but we always did it like just out of our love and out of our pocket. Like the H.A.V.O.C picnic, like use the H.A.V.O.C picnic, for example. Y'all don't have to pay, no one has to pay for anything.
Right.
Well, all of that comes out of our pocket as we buy all the food, we buy the permit, we buy all of that. So, but we wasn't a non-for-profit. So it was like all these years we were just doing it just us, you know. But I got to the point of, man, I want to do some bigger stuff where maybe at the picnic I could probably get some some donators to bring in book bags for the youth. Bring in some barbers to get, like, while they're dancing, some of the youth could get their haircuts for school, you know. So like have a station where, okay, over here there's haircuts going on, get some school supplies for your kids. If you got kids, when you come to the picnic, you already know we're gonna have food, chicken and all of that. Come early for the good food, because everybody eat that up quick and it just be hamburgers and hot dogs left. So I always say early. I mean, man, Chaz, shout out to Chaz. Chaz Toy and them, they be having like jerk chicken and all types of stuff. They be having a lot of, for it to be free, they be having some good food.
Man, but that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Y'all doing a lot of good work.
Man, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm filming a documentary a little bit about some of the stuff that we've been doing at the UP Center. So just some of the things like some of the presenters that we have and mentors there that do workshops, like Dr. Cook. He like Mr. Cook, he do minds over 9. So you're always having your mind over your 9, like a gun.
Oh man, yeah.
So mind over 9. You know, like most of the youth, sometimes they don't think first and they act.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure you're thinking first, because one wrong decision without thought behind it could cost you, you know, almost half your life, or it could cost you your life. You know, so getting locked up off a bad decision or anything like that. So getting the time to get a chance to have some mindfulness to think about some of the stuff that we do in life, and fixing on our goals and things that we want to do. We all are amazing. We all are unique. And it's about time that we all get a chance to fuel some of the dreams that we want to do, you know. So if you ever had somebody tell you, oh, you ain't never going to be none, you just stay on the corner, like, that's kind of like hard for someone that never had no encouraging words coming from their parents or family. So to be able to create that safe environment for anyone to feel welcome and to feel motivated and inspired, that's what it's about. And that's also that same energy that I just at the H.A.V.O.C picnic, anywhere I go. You know, if it ain't gotta be at the picnic. If anybody need me outside of it, you know, it's one of those things that it was, like I said, I've been through anything that I speak on is something that I already been through. And if I already been through it and I'm standing here strong with a smile on my face, you can too, you know.
Yeah.
And when I say been through it all, I mean I done been shot at before by mistaken identity, by somebody thinking I was somebody else. I done got hit by a car. I done fell 2 stories head first, died, came back. I done, you know what I'm saying, grew up, you know what I'm saying, like in the hood, like it's one of those things that's like, what else? What you been through that got you, that came to make a smile on your face, like.
Foot workout. Yo, shouts out to the homeboy, the brother Prince JRon. Y'all, that was a good show. We got a lot of good information on the historical makings of H.A.V.O.C. And he also hit us up on some good things coming up this summer 2022. But y'all support our brother, man. His social media, Prince JRon on Instagram. That's PRINCEJRON. And also, be sure to check him and the brother Boudilla out tonight around 7 or 8 o'clock for another good episode of Behind the Name Discussion. You can see that on Instagram to get the link for the Zoom and on their YouTube channel, Behind the Name. But y'all, we got more Prince JRon series coming up, so stay tuned.
Footwork out.